Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Jimmy Kolb here with Anderson Powerlifting and Pharrell Innovations, bringing you another video about the bench press. I've had a lot of good conversations and questions about this particular topic for today. Should you be holding your breath in the bench press from the handoff all the way to the beginning of the lift and back up? Go ahead and have a chat about this subject. Okay, so when should we start taking our big breath before we go down into the eccentric or the lowering phase of the bench press? The basic idea of holding your breath from handoff to the release to the lowering phase and then the press call is one of maintaining maximum air and tightness before the lift begins. You can take in a lot more air into the chest, into the belly with no weight in your hands as opposed to your maximum load, your maximum attempt in your hands, pushing you down, compressing your body, especially if you're wearing equipment with the shirt, compressing you and pushing into your stomach and your chest. A lot of lifters, both raw and equipped, do that with the squat, especially with the monolift being part of the sport for quite a few years now. They take that huge last breath, hold it in, pick the weight up, either receive a squat command, or in some feds like IPA there is no squat command, and descend into the squat and come back up. I have done this very thing when I was competitively squatting. Difference in the squat and bench press, besides being two completely different movements, one lower body, full body, and one primarily upper body, is that there is no handoff in the squat. You stand up with it and you squat straight down. The amount of time of you holding your breath before the lift begins is only a few seconds. In some cases with the really large multiply squats, some of those unracked times may have been a little bit longer. But even such, you have to account if you hold your breath in the bench press as you get the handoff, so you take that deep breath, up, they start taking the weight out, release, and now you have to steady it, there's a little bit of bobble, and then begin the lift. It's a lot of time under tension. Every millisecond spent underneath that weight, you are burning precious fuel, precious oxygen. The only time I've almost completely blacked out during a bench press in the gym was at Blackstone's probably 10 or 12 years ago. I tried this technique. I held a huge breath, I got the handoff, I steadied the weight, made my descent, and everything started to go away. My vision blurs often with these heavier weights and insane reps that I do from time to time, but it's not blacking out, it's more of CNS overload, eyes getting swollen and closing on me and kind of involuntarily. But blacking out due to lack of oxygen, one time during this technique. But one big bencher who really made it work quite frequently was Scott Mendelson. Scott, still to this day, is the only lifter to ever hold the highest raw and the highest equipped bench at the same time.
3, up, out,
Lower.
out, release. Keep it tight, elbows in, that's it, tight, squeeze it, press.
So it's not that it can't work, I'm just coming from experience and kind of logic. The way I've been doing it is by taking a huge breath to brace for this big weight that's coming my way. Take a huge breath, get the hand off. I'm oftentimes kind of letting go of my air a little bit until I get it out and they say release. Now it's time to steady the weight. And I've developed this lung capacity over a lot of years. Again, 15 years competing and 15 years in equipment to be able to hold a heavy weight on top of me and achieve a big breath. So it can be done this way. But now I'm taking in that huge breath of air just a second, half a second before I make that descent. So now I have a lot more oxygen, a lot more fuel for the ride down, and adversely, more oxygen and fuel for the ride back up. One other technique I have tried is on the way out, as I'm receiving the bar, I'm in more and more air in preparation for where the bar needs to be and the release, and then go down. But even with a perfect handoff, even with perfect technique, this still does not allow me to have enough air to go down. With the type of weights I'm handling these days, even with my world-class perfect handoffs that I get from my guys, sometimes there is going to be some bobble with 1,400 plus pounds. So I find that taking the moment to steady the weight, have a perfect starting position, and then getting my air before I make the descent has been the superior way for me to get these big lifts. If you hold your breath from the rack all the way out, before steadying it and going down. If you start to panic, like I need to go now because maybe I'm running out of air, and you don't have a perfect starting position, that's just going to mess you up for the press anyway. So I say learn patience, which is a topic for another video. Take your breath before you go down, learn to control the weight, have a perfect starting position. That way you have maximum air for that descent and the return home. That is going to be it for today's video. I hope you got something out of it, something positive. If you did, like the video, maybe subscribe to the channel. Of course, leave a comment below, let me know your thoughts. And like I always say, until next time, stay strong.